I want to take us on a journey through Psalm 24. It's not much, okay? So there is a story there on how we receive authority to fight against oppression. Psalm 24, the ESV version. It starts and says, "The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, the world and those who dwell therein. For he has founded it upon the seas and established it upon the rivers. Who shall ascend the hill of the Lord? And who shall stand in his holy place? He who has clean hands and a pure heart, who does not lift up his soul to what is false, and does not swear deceitfully. He will receive blessing from the Lord and righteousness from the God of his salvation. Such is the generation of those who seek him, who seek the face of the God of Jacob. Selah. Lift up your heads, O gates, and be lifted up, O ancient doors, that the King of glory may come in. Who is this King of glory? The Lord strong and mighty, the Lord mighty in battle. Lift up your heads, O gates, and lift them up, O ancient doors, and that the King of glory may come in. Who is this King of glory? The Lord of hosts. He is the King of glory. So I'm going to take us through a journey of what I call the ancient gates history. Yeah, look at me dropping words. Psalm 24 paints a perfect picture of the power we have as people who have reconnected back to God. It is those who have reconnected back to God that will be able to pull down spiritual, mental, and evil physical strongholds. In verses 1 and 2, you can see the declaration of God's sovereignty or God's sovereign authority upon the earth and all that is in it, including the world and its system. Okay? Because the world and its system is built on God's territory, which is the earth. Okay? So the earth is the Lord's and whatever that's on it. Okay? The fact that the enemy built on God's territory, that's eternally illegal. Okay? Eternally illegal. But those whom he has given the earth, we are not aware, neither are we equipped or even ready to take back our father's territory. Let's break this down. In verse 3 of Psalm 24, we'll see who shall ascend the hill of the Lord and who shall stand in his holy place. So, because Jesus Christ has died on the cross for us, we have gotten that access back. Although we are not worthy, but Jesus stands in the gap as righteousness unto us. So we are able to ascend and be in God's holy place. Then in verse 4, we can find the awareness of one who is in God's holy place. Because you can't be in God's holy place and not be transformed. If you've been in God's holy place for a long time and you haven't been transformed, you are really not reaping the fullness of the benefit of having that access. Here is the awareness of those. Awareness that those who are in God's holy place, the awareness they develop is that they are to seek clean hands, pure hearts. They are not to lift up their soul to what is false, and they do not swear deceitfully. These are the things that God will teach us as we spend more time in his holy place. Remember, we got access to the holy place because Jesus died. But now, what we do in the holy place is to transform and renew our mind. And we can see in verse 4 what the transformation of our mind is going to bring forth out of us: clean hands, a pure heart, not lifting up our soul, our mind to what is false, and also not swearing deceitfully. Then, in the course of seeking the transformation of our mind, aka restoration of our soul, we receive blessings from the Lord. That is what we'll find in verse 5, sorry, that in the course of seeking to develop the traits of God in us, because these traits that we find here in verse 4, clean hands, pure heart, not lifting up your soul to what is false, and not swearing deceitfully, those are traits of those who have allowed the holy place to influence them. They have allowed the presence that is found in the holy place to influence their mind, to influence their life. So, as you are allowing that influence, it says in verse 5 that you will receive blessings from the Lord and righteousness from the God of our salvation. Sorry. And so that which you receive in verse 5 is like God is equipping us for the journey ahead. As we seek to be transformed in his holy place, we are receiving blessings and also the grace for righteousness. These are the tools that we need for the journey ahead. A group of people that are ready to set out. In verse 6, it says, such is the generation of those who seek him, that is God, who seek the face of the God of Jacob. Yes. These are people that are ready, that at every instance, regardless of the blessing and the grace for righteousness that we have received, at every instance moving forward, we are turning back to seek God's face concerning what lies ahead. We are constantly seeking God's face, seeking God's will, seeking God's intention, seeking God's opinion. Those that are constantly seeking God's opinion are those that are ready to take back God's territory. They are those that are ready to take back their inheritance, because God can trust that they will come back and ask questions. They will come back and seek counsel. They will come back and say, God, show me the way. They will not move on their own accord. They will not move on their own wisdom. They will not lean on their own understanding. They will turn back and say, God, show me, help me. These are the people that are ready to set out to gain back our father's inheritance. So now here is the very much interesting part in Psalm 24. That is verse 7. Something is being spoken to. Something is being spoken to. And these we refer to as gates, the ancient gates. Where else do we hear gates as profound as it is in Psalm 24? Is when Jesus spoke to Peter and said, upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail. There is a reason while Jesus said that. I would say personally that he's referring back to this psalm, because he's talking about a church that he has built on a rock. That's a solid foundation. That's a church that is unfazed by the world. That's a church that is equipped with righteousness. That's a church that is seeking, constantly seeking the face of God. That church is a church that Christ built. And that is a church that the gates of hell will not prevail. But listen, in order to build the church, we have to take back territory. We have to take back what has been lost in order to build this church. And so, in the process of building, we are going to encounter these gates that have been there, these ancient gates that have been there for a very long time. As people that are equipped, we have to turn and speak like they are being spoken to in verse 7, in Psalm 24 verse 7. We have to speak to these gates and say, open up. It says lift up. Say me when they talk open up, it says lift up your heads. You should lift up your head and give way. I believe that to lift up their head is to root themselves out of our territory, that we are making a way for the King of Glory. I hope you guys are catching this. Like I said, in order to build the church that Jesus is talking about, that the gates of hell will not prevail, we have to take territory. We have to take territory and keep the gates of hell at bay. And all these will start from being restored in our soul. It's a journey. We cannot just go with nothing and you are going to come against systems that have been there. Literally, the world and its system is said to have been built by Cain. Cain is literally Adam's son. Okay, that's how far back. Jesus has made it possible for us to be equipped way more than the enemy is even expecting, so that we can turn back and speak to the ancient gates and take back what's ours. But I want you to be aware, ancient gates in Psalm 24, they had to be spoken to twice. Let me read it out. They were spoken to the first time, and then they asked question, who is this King of Glory? They know they fear you. Ancient gates, they're not afraid of you. That is the devil and his cohorts and everything that represents the enemy. They know they fear you. They don't know you. Who they know? God. They don't know who you are. You have to come in the name of the King of Glory. We came and said that the King of Glory may what? Come in. And so they asked us, who is this King of Glory? They want to be sure that we know the King of glory that we are declaring his name over our lives. And then we answer, the Lord strong and mighty, the Lord mighty in battle. And then we say again, lift up your head, O ye gates, and lift them up, O ancient doors, that the King of glory may come in. And then we ask you again. So in your journey of restoration, whether it's the restoration of your soul or when you're done with here, you're now seeking out to restore souls back to God, or to restore a community back to God, or to even build, as we are told, or to even build with Christ, his church, we will experience resistance from these ancient gates. And like I said, they operate under the shadow of oppression. That is their domain, to keep you oppressed. And then they will do what they will with you. Never forget, resistance is there. You will see it, you will see them. They will manifest in so many ways, but their plan, they're asking you twice because they probably think that you are not strong enough in your faith. They're asking you, it might not be twice, child. I have been asked multiple times ever since I've been trying to break free and restore the love and peace that I currently have in my soul. I've been asked so many times, who is giving you the authority to do this? Who made you think that you can be free? Who made you think that you can live this beautiful life? And then I will say, I am the King of glory, the Lord strong and mighty. And it's very beautiful that one of the first ways that I knew God personally was his sovereignty. I saw that move in my life in ways that made no sense. And yeah, I'm so grateful. So let's explain more on how the enemy uses oppression. So through these levels of oppression, deception, distraction, mockery, the enemy tends to lead the children of God away from God into error. He is deceiving us, distracting us, and then through our disobedient lives, he is mocking God. I'm going in depth on the levels of oppression. We have deception, distraction, and mockery. We're going to define these terms and then tie everything together with how we can stand firm against the levels of oppression. Because for Christ, we have been operating under these levels of oppression. And so these levels of oppression have become like normalcy to us. It has become normal to us. It has become natural to us. So choosing to live a life of Christ is like opposing the norm, because we have lived life under oppression. Now choosing freedom is opposing oppression. So as a Christian, the enemy tries to tempt you out of your faith using distraction and deception. But he tries to destroy your belief system using mockery. What is our stance against the attacks of the enemy, against the oppression that he has built around us before Christ? Our stance is righteousness. Yeah, the same righteousness we saw in Psalm 24. That is, like I told you, then with righteousness, we are equipped with righteousness to go forth and take back what's ours. And in the absence of righteousness, we can't really come out of under oppression. We cannot really do that, to be very honest. Because to be righteous is to possess the traits of Christ. And that alone sends the enemy, literally flings him out of the window. Righteousness? Righteousness. That is how you come out of under oppression. To walk with God, to literally walk blameless before God, is to live a righteous life. Psalm 24 tells the entire story. Whatever it is that you're trying to restore on this earth, there is a gate that you have to pull down to take back the land. And to be equipped, you have to be equipped with righteousness to pull down the gates and take back the land. If it's the gates of your mind, you need righteousness. If it's the gates of your community, and by that I mean the framework of mind or the council that rules over the community, you need to be righteous. You need to live a life that will make people glorify your Father in heaven. With that glory, you will be sent forth to conquer. Yes. Against deception, distraction, and mockery, aka the levels of oppression, we have unto us from God levels of righteousness. First of all, the first one is salvation, the second one is deliverance and healing, and the third one is consecration. Righteousness from the God of our salvation is the foundation. Don't build your life on any other foundation that is not about living righteous unto God. So, this brings me to the end of the video. First of all, I am going to apologize sincerely from the depth of my heart for the son. He really did me one today, and I hope this video blessed you because it blessed me.